The wind howled, leaves crunched under their feet. It was Halloween night, and the group of friends stood before the old house. The house everyone whispered about, the house no one dared to enter.
"How dare you?"
Ryan said, his voice barely a whisper. He stared at the house, a smirk playing on his lips.
"Double dog dare you?"
chimed in Emily, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. The dare hung in the air, heavy and ominous. They all felt it. The pull of the unknown, the thrill of fear. Mark, always up for a challenge, puffed out his chest.
"Fine, let's do it."
The house loomed before them, dark and imposing. Its paint peeled, revealing rotting wood beneath. The windows, boarded up and lifeless, stared back like the eyes of a predator. The air grew cold, sending shivers down their spines. Legends surrounded the house. Tales whispered around campfires and during sleepovers. They spoke of a family that lived there, vanished without a trace. Some said a curse hung over the house, trapping the family's souls within its decaying walls. Mark took a hesitant step toward the house, the others close behind. Each creak of the floorboards, each rustle of leaves against the walls, sent their hearts racing. They were in too deep now. There was no turning back. The front door groaned as Mark pushed it open, the ancient wood protesting against the intrusion. The sound was almost human, a long, drawn-out wail that sent shivers down his spine. The sound echoed through the silent house, bouncing off the walls and fading into the distance, leaving an eerie stillness in its wake. Dust hung thick in the air, swirling in the faint beams of moonlight that managed to penetrate the gloom. The moonlight filtered through cracks in the boarded-up windows, casting ghostly patterns on the floor and walls. The air was heavy, stale, and thick with the scent of decay, a mixture of mold, rot, and something indefinable that hinted at long-forgotten memories. Cobwebs clung to every surface, draping the furniture in a shroud of neglect. They hung from the ceiling like tattered curtains, swaying gently in the draught. The only sounds were the beating of their hearts and their shallow breaths, each one amplified in the oppressive silence. They stepped inside, their eyes struggling to adjust to the gloom. The darkness seemed to press in on them, making it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. Each one felt a chill, a sense of unseen eyes watching their every move. It was as if the house itself was alive, aware of their presence and not pleased by it. As they ventured deeper into the house, the floorboards creaked and groaned under their weight. Each step a loud protest in the otherwise silent space. The floorboards seemed to be protesting their presence, as if warning them to turn back before it was too late. The musty smell intensified, filling their nostrils and clinging to their clothes. It was a smell of abandonment, of years of neglect and decay. They were intruders in a place forgotten by time, a place that had been left to rot and crumble. The house seemed to resent their intrusion, its very walls whispering of secrets best left undisturbed. In one corner, an old family portrait hung crookedly on the wall, covered in dust. The faces in the picture were barely visible, but their eyes seemed to follow the intruders, judging them silently. An old grandfather clock stood in the hallway, its hands frozen at midnight. Time had stopped in this house, and it felt as if they had stepped into a different world, one where the past and present coexisted in uneasy silence. A flickering candle on a dusty table provided the only light, casting long shadows that danced on the walls. The flame seemed to waver in the presence of the intruders, as if it too was afraid. The cold seeped into their bones, making them shiver. It was a cold that went beyond the physical, a chill that seemed to come from the very soul of the house. They spoke in hushed whispers, their voices barely audible. It felt wrong to speak loudly in this place, as if they might wake something that was better left undisturbed. Mark found an old rusted key in the lock of a door at the end of the hallway. He hesitated for a moment, then turned the key. The lock clicked open with a sound that echoed through the house, a sound that seemed to unlock more than just the door. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a dark room beyond. What lay inside was a mystery, a secret that had been hidden away for years, waiting for someone to uncover it. They took a deep breath, steeling themselves for whatever they might find. The house had many secrets, and they were about to uncover one of them. On a dusty table in the center of the room lay an old diary, its pages yellowed with age. It was a record of the house's past, a story waiting to be told. Mark picked up the diary and opened it, the pages crackling under his fingers. As he began to read, the words seemed to come alive, painting a picture of the house's history, a history that was both fascinating and terrifying. His eyes widened in shock as he read. the secrets of the house unfolding before him. It was a story of love and loss, of joy and sorrow, of life and death. And it was a story that was far from over. A sudden noise, a thump from upstairs made them jump. Their heads snapped up, eyes scanning the darkness above. The shadows seemed to dance and twist, playing tricks on their eyes. Or was it their imagination?
Did you hear that?
Whispered Jessica, her voice tight with fear. They listened intently, their breath catching in their throats. Silence. Then another thump, closer this time. Fear tightened its grip on their chests. They exchanged nervous glances, each hoping someone would suggest turning back. But no one spoke. They were caught in the grip of the house, their fear a tangible presence in the oppressive air. A cold breeze swept through the hallway, extinguishing their only source of light, Emily's flashlight. Darkness enveloped them, thick and suffocating.
Panic welled up inside them, threatening to spill over.
Then a voice, soft and mournful, drifted down from the darkness above.
"Help us," it whispered.
The voice sent chills down their spines, raising goosebumps on their skin. They were not alone. Frozen in terror, they listened as the voice spoke again, filled with a deep sadness that resonated within them.
"We are trapped," it moaned. "Help us find peace."
The air grew colder, the silence amplifying their fear. Fumbling in the dark, Mark found the flashlight and flicked it on. The beam of light cut through the darkness, revealing a staircase leading to the second floor. The voice seemed to come from up there. They climbed the stairs slowly, each step creaking a warning. At the top of the stairs, a door stood slightly ajar. A pale light emanated from within. With bated breath, they pushed the door open and stepped inside.
The room was small and dusty, furnished only with a writing desk and a chair. On the desk lay a leather-bound diary, its pages yellowed with age.
As they approached, a gust of wind slammed the door shut, plunging them into darkness once more. Fear threatened to overwhelm them, but curiosity battled for dominance. They had to know the secrets this house held. They had to understand the source of the voice, the plea for help.
I found the flashlight again and shone it around the room. The light flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Suddenly, it landed on a loose floorboard near the desk. It seemed out of place.
With trembling hands, Mark pried up the floorboard. Beneath it, they discovered a small wooden box. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, lay a tarnished silver locket and a single yellowed photograph. The photograph showed a family, a man, a woman, and a young girl, standing on the front steps of the very house they were in. The house, now shrouded in mystery and darkness, once echoed with laughter and joy. Their faces, though faded with time, held a warmth and happiness that contrasted sharply with the chilling atmosphere of the house. The smiles in the photograph seemed almost out of place in the current, eerie setting.
"We were happy once. Our days were filled with laughter and our nights with peace. But our happiness was stolen, replaced by an unending sorrow that haunts these walls. Our lives cut tragically short, leaving behind only memories and a lingering sadness."
As they examined the locket, the mournful voice spoke again, this time closer, more intimate, as if the very essence of the voice was intertwined with the locket. The voice seemed to emanate from the locket itself, filling the room with a palpable sense of loss and longing.
"We were happy once. Our lives were simple, filled with love and contentment. But our happiness was stolen, leaving behind only shadows and echoes of what once was. Our lives cut tragically short, our dreams unfulfilled, our spirits trapped in this endless night."
The locket grew warm in Mark's hand. He sensed a presence, not menacing, but filled with a deep sorrow. It was as if the locket was a bridge between the past and the present, a conduit for the trapped souls. He realized they weren't dealing with evil spirits, but with trapped souls seeking release from their torment. These spirits were not here to harm, but to find peace, to be remembered, and to finally move on from their eternal suffering. The voice continued, its tale unfolding like a forgotten memory. The family had been victims of a robbery gone wrong, their lives taken within these very walls. Their souls, unable to find peace, had been tethered to the house ever since.
"Help us remember. Tell our story. Let the world know our fate. Only then can we find peace and move on."
The teenagers listened, their hearts heavy with the family's pain. They vowed to honor the family's request, to share their story and ensure their tragedy was not forgotten. As they made this promise, the locket grew cold, the voice fading into a peaceful silence. The air, once heavy and oppressive, felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. With the spirits at peace, the house felt different. Less menacing, less filled with dread. The once oppressive atmosphere had lifted, leaving behind a sense of calm that was almost palpable. The walls, which had echoed with whispers and cries, now stood silent, as if they too were finally at rest. The shadows seemed to retreat, and the air, though still cold, no longer held the same oppressive weight. It was as if the very essence of the house had shifted, transforming from a place of fear to one of quiet reflection. The darkness that had once seemed so impenetrable now felt like a blanket, comforting and familiar. They left the house, stepping out into the cool night air. Each step felt like a release, a shedding of the fear and tension that had gripped them for so long. The night, though still, seemed to breathe with them, sharing in their newfound sense of freedom. The storm had passed, and the moon shone brightly in the sky, bathing the world in an ethereal glow. The landscape, once shrouded in darkness and mystery, now lay open and inviting under the moon's gentle light. It was a night that felt almost magical, as if the world itself was celebrating their triumph. They had faced their fears and emerged forever changed. The bond between them, forged in the crucible of their shared experience, felt stronger than ever. They looked at each other with new eyes, seeing not just friends, but fellow survivors, comrades who had faced the unknown and come out the other side. The old house still stood on the hill, a silent sentinel overlooking the town. Its presence, once a source of fear and speculation, now seemed almost benign. It was a reminder of the past, a monument to the stories and lives that had played out within its walls. But it no longer held the same terror. The house, like the spirits within it, had found peace. Its once menacing facade now seemed almost welcoming, a place where stories could be told and memories could be cherished. The spirits were at peace, their story told, their memory kept alive. They had been heard, their pain acknowledged, and in that acknowledgement, they had found release. The house, once a prison, had become a sanctuary, a place where the past could rest easy. And the group of friends? They walked away with a sense of accomplishment, their hearts lighter, their spirits lifted. They had not just survived the night, they had conquered it. They carried the weight of the family's story, a reminder that some houses hold more than just memories. They hold souls. And in carrying that story, they knew they had become part of something larger, a living testament to the power of courage, friendship, and the enduring human spirit.